Hello, my fellow Rotarians, and welcome back to the legendary Rotary D6270 podcast. My name is Christopher Ulrich. I am your district governor nominee, and I am thrilled to be here with our very first guest of the podcast ever, Angelica Niemann. Hi, Angelica. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Hi, Christopher. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. And I've known you for a long time, but I've never actually asked, do you prefer Angelica or Angie? Do you go by something different?
I prefer Angelica.
Okay.
I feel like now that Hamilton's been popular, a lot of people like sing that song about Angelica.
Angelica. Yeah, I got
Yes.
it.
Hey, I'll take that intro any day.
Very cool. Well, you deserve it. I also like to go by my first name too, so I appreciate another person who does that. Angelica, tell us about yourself as a professional. What do you do for your day job?
Yes. So I am the marketing manager for Spectrum Investment Advisors. We're an investment firm located in Mequon. We do corporate retirement plans and individual wealth management. My job is very diverse. Every day is so different. There's a lot of things that I love about the job. One in particular, with being in the investment industry, it's very relationship based. So a lot that we do throughout the year, I try to connect people, whether it's a volunteer project in the community, pickleball, a lunch and learn. There's a lot of wonderful things that we do within the community. And one thing in particularly is their value in supporting the community. They support me involved in Rotary and other community initiatives, and I really appreciate that, and I think that it is such a win-win for our company and also for our wonderful community as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, when your place of employment supports Rotary and wants its people to be in the community, that
Yes.
is definitely the win-win. I appreciate it. But what do you do for fun? Tell me about your family. Tell me about what you're doing when you're not marketing.
Well, when I'm not in the office, I'm the youngest of three girls,
All
and
right.
I am very close to my family. So, our big hobby when I go back home to visit my parents would be horseback riding. But
Really?
we're big into traveling. So, whether it's snow skiing or finding new places, we're actually going to go on our family vacation a few weeks to Door County. So I am spearheading that, and I have the whole itinerary all planned out. I'm very excited about it. But I love, taking adventures and trips. I'm also big into cooking.
Ooh.
So a dream of mine someday is to have my own cookbook. But I love cooking. I love coming up with recipes. I love entertaining and hosting guests at my place. So that's also a big fun fact about me. I'm a big foodie.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you looked? Is there a Rotary Fellowship on horses, like an equestrian fellowship? That seems like something that has to exist.
I feel like it must exist, and I definitely need to get involved.
Cool. Nice. Well, I didn't know you're the youngest of three. My wife is the youngest of three sisters as
Oh,
well.
very
So,
cool.
yeah, they're the best ones. So what can I say? So, we are Rotarians and we are young Rotarians. The first thing I want to talk about is how did you find Rotary, or how did Rotary find you? Because I know it comes to people in different ways. What was your first exposure to Rotary?
Great question, Christopher. And I actually love telling this story.
Awesome.
So, my family has over 100 years of service in Rotary. My father, grandfather, and uncle serving as past presidents.
Wow.
I know. I'm the current president for the Thiensville-Mequon Rotary Club, and I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. But the seed was planted at a very young age. So I remember being 8 years old, going to our local festival. It was, just a river fest where we were serving walking tacos. It wasn't really like we were moving mountains or anything too crazy, but that was my very first memory of volunteering, and it was so impactful to me as a young girl, right? Like, I get those warm fuzzies by helping the community and being able to see that go to a good cause. And I just thought that was really awesome. And I'm like, I want to be around people like this more often. So I knew at a very young age that I wanted to join Rotary, and I really admired my family and the impact they were able to make in servant leadership. And so really it was something that I feel like I was kind of born into and always wanted to join.
Were you at all? That's wonderful, first off, and it touches my heart. I'm a father of three, and my two eldest are daughters, and I like to bring them to things that I can. I think my eldest came to a highway cleanup when she was Too young. She was like 3 or 4, and we were cleaning up against a very rural highway, and her job was to pick up the golf balls, and she loved it. So you were a shining example of what I hope to engender in the next generation of Rotarians after us in 20 or 30 years. Were you in Interact or Rotaract or anything before you became a Rotarian, or was it just volunteering with your dad or uncle's clubs as you were younger?
Yeah, being involved in my family's local Rotary Club, that was in Quincy, Illinois, but also pageants of all things. And I think
Cool.
this is actually quite interesting because a lot of people think, oh, beauty pageants, like what does it have to do with volunteering? I was involved in the Miss America organization as well as the Miss Volunteer America organization. Those are both pageants that are focused on scholarship, being a scholarship pageant. And what's really unique about that, it has a very big service component to it. So I actually had a platform during my 10 years of being involved in pageants, and I would go into schools and talk about, my platform was about like healthy eating, but a variety of different service projects, a lot of exposure of being a servant leader in the community. And so that continued to like grow and nurture that seed that my dad planted as an 8-year-old little Angelica volunteering for the first time. And pageants continue to help me grow that love and that passion for volunteering.
Amazing. I live up in Oshkosh, and we hosted Miss Wisconsin for ages here at Alberta Kimball Auditorium. I
Yes.
got to be a singer for it for a few years too, so I've met a lot of really fantastic young women. And yes, I understand that it's definitely not just a beauty pageant. There is so much that goes into being that, and what you represent for people in the community. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So you said that you were president for your club this year, Mequon, Thiensville-Mequon. Help me out. I'm still
Yes.
trying to get all the lists in my mind.
Mequon, you are correct.
Thiensville-Mequon. Okay. And well, congratulations. That's fantastic. Tell us maybe 3 things that you love about your club and what some of your goals are that you're working towards this year together.
Oh my goodness. 3 things I love about my club. I only can choose 3.
Well, you
You
can go
know,
ahead.
the first one would be the people. What I love about Rotary, and I know we talked about this at Pets, is you have to learn and figure out what your why is. And everyone's why is going to be different. For me, I moved up here as a transplant for work, and I
Okay.
didn't know anybody. And I remember, and I actually told this story at our changing of the guard because it was so impactful to me. And I'm going to share it with you as well.
Please.
A first week out here all by myself, didn't have any friends. I remember calling my dad and saying, I'm kind of lonely. I need to find my people. And he mentioned, it's like find your church, find your Rotary Club. Like there's a variety of ways to get involved as a professional and as a young professional. And, it really has been one of the best things for me, both personally and professionally. But I love the people in it are they're just fun. They really look out for each other. We all have like a servant mindset and our hearts in the right places, and I just really appreciate them. So first and foremost, I'd say the people. Second, the opportunity to grow, and I think this is really key for young professionals, especially since COVID. There's not many opportunities to network in person, to synergize, to build on certain social skill sets that you need to do in person.
True.
In-person networking is huge. I actually was one of the speakers at the a Ripple event in Milwaukee like last week about that, talking about the power of in-person networking. You can't do everything online. Technology is fabulous as a tool, but you need to be in person to build those connections. And what I love about Rotary is, there's networking opportunities to have a mentor, or if you need something or need advice or a suggestion here, or maybe someone's specialty, because everyone's in different industries, everyone has a different background and different careers, and I really do feel like it's a great group of people that have their hearts in the right places and are servant oriented, but also too great on the business side as well for networking and future opportunities on the business front. And then 3, oh my goodness, so many. I love that every Rotary is so different. So we're a global organization, and what's so unique is, you can go to Milwaukee, you can go to Lake Geneva Club, you can go to the Cedarburg Grafton Club, you can go to our Thiensville-Mequon Club, and everyone has different passion projects, and that's what's so cool. It's not, we do all support Polio Plus, which I love, and we do have our walk coming up on October 24th.
Yes. No
Worldwide,
Polio
which
Day.
we're in full planning mode for. So I love that there's something that we all connect on. But what's great is every club has their own unique passion project. So things that either our president, our committee, our board, even a certain Rotarian wants to spearhead, and people support that. And I think that's really, really unique about our Rotary clubs, that each one has their own passion project.
Hear, hear. Yeah, the second point that you made, you talked about leadership development in particular, and this getting a mentor through Rotary. I was listening to the Rotary International podcast that just came out a little bit before this, and John Hugo was saying that that's kind of something that Rotary does that we don't often promote as not necessarily a sales pitch, but one of the benefits of being a Rotarian. And I wholeheartedly agree. You talk about servant leadership and having a mentor. I have been changed because of the people that I've met in Rotary. It has guided the course of my life over the last 12 years being a Rotarian. In fact, I'm in the process of being interviewed right now. I've been a stay-at-home dad for the last decade, and I was approached to be interviewed for the professor pool for Moraine Park Technical College, teaching leadership and change management. And so just all the things that you're talking about here are very much on my mind. And the best example that I can give, and I think the reason I was approached for it, is because of all the work that I've done through Rotary and the people that I've met. So it really is life-changing. To continue that thought, recently, RI President Yinka explained in a podcast that he dislikes the term elevator pitch for describing Rotary. When somebody says, "Oh, what's Rotary? Give your elevator pitch." It's a term that inherently is too impersonal for an experience that is deeply personal. We are fundamentally changed by our time in Rotary. So I'm wondering, in what ways, first off, how many years have you been a Rotarian? And secondly, what ways have you already been changed because of your time with Rotary?
I've been involved in Rotary for 3 years, and kind of going back to one of the conversations we had earlier in this interview is talking about you find your why. Like,
Yes.
being a part of Rotary is being a part of something bigger than yourself. It's kind of hard to explain until you get involved in it, but whether your why is to find your community or a passion project, which I do want to get into talking about. Ours is the all-user
Next.
playground that we're really excited about. Leadership opportunities for young professionals and mentors to connect with. Everyone's why is so different, but it's so purpose-driven, and being a part of something so much bigger than yourself. It just drives you as a person to wake up each morning excited. And you can find that passion in your job, with your family, and your own personal endeavors and other passion projects. But Rotary really has a special place in my heart because of that. And also, too, I wanted to mention I didn't answer the second part of the question about what I wanted to accomplish. Can we kind of
Of course you can. Why don't you tell us about what things you want to accomplish and what you love about your club, because you kind of dovetailed into what you love about Rotary International,
yes.
which I wasn't
Yes.
about to stop you because I drink the Kool-Aid too. So tell me what you love about your club and
Yes.
segue exactly into your park project that we want to talk about. You talk about passion
Yes.
projects. You've mentioned that a couple times. Take it away.
Yes, thank you. What I love about our club, I was talking about people, and I love our people in my club, and then we did kind of dovetail into why I love Rotary so much. But what I love about us is we have so much fun. Like, we meet Tuesdays at noon. Anyone's welcome to join us, but it is so much fun. So, like, in the summer right now, it's really cool. Our Rotary Club actually meets at Rotary Park, and we take turns of these cooking crews, and we all like bring our favorite recipes, which, you know me, I'm a big foodie, so
That's
it's
what you
right up
said.
my alley. And we have lunch in the park together, and it's just so much fun. We bring engaging speakers. This past year we had one of the former Packer photographers, a gentleman that was the vice admiral in the Pentagon during 9/11. We had a yoga instructor talk about how to de-stress at work. A former FBI agent group that talked about self-defense and how to walk home from a Bucks game safely. Like, just so many engaging speakers. We have fun in our meetings. We also do a really cool family night that's coming up for us later in August. But we invite our kids and our spouses and our grandkids grandkids and family and friends, and just enjoy each other's company. There's always a couple like special things. Like one gentleman in our club's really good at making old fashions. He's actually award-winning old fashioned, and so he'll bring those out. This year I'm going to have like a bubble machine, maybe some live music, and a couple other ideas up my sleeve. But that really segues into what I'm trying to accomplish this year. Is I want to continue to take what we already have, which is an amazing foundation, and to continue to build that momentum, to build that fun. Because if we're having fun, I think that is going to just naturally attract people to join our club. My goal this year really is to focus on one thing, which is membership. There's a lot of things I want to focus on, but when I came back to it after I wrote down my laundry list of like, oh, these are all the things I want to accomplish, it all comes back to membership retention, and also membership growth. So to attract new members and engage the current ones. So again, having engaging speakers, having interesting, fun events outside of work. So I'm hosting a couple different, I'm calling Rotary on the Roads, social mixers, joining other clubs, joining community members to get to know who we are. But it's also a focus on our current Rotarians and to make sure they're having fun and engaged, and that meetings and outside of meetings, that we are like a second family. So that's really my goal this year. And I've got a couple other different kind of like side parts to that, but membership is really my main focus. We're rebranding business meetings. I didn't know that actually when I took over as president, I didn't know that those were actually somewhat optional. You could always do a speaker. I didn't realize that every club kind of runs those a little bit differently. We've always had the traditional business meeting. From my understanding, that's when the committees and chairs share kind of their updates, where they're at and their goals. And for me, I'm rebranding them. And I'm going to do Rotary in Action. So they're going to be fun activities that are engage our members. There's games, there's icebreakers. You're going to get to know more people in your club, because it's so easy just to kind of sit at your same table every time and talk to the same people. We're going to get people outside their box, and it's going to be fun. And I've got a lot of fun things coming up. And like one that's going to be this fall is Membership Olympics. So we're going to primarily focus on, how do we not give the quote-unquote elevator pitch, but how do we promote Rotary? What is your why? Who do you know on your network that could benefit from Rotary? Like that. Sometimes you just don't even ask that simple question. And in sales, sometimes it just takes a simple conversation and to share, why you love Rotary. What has it done for you, and how can it benefit our community, and why it's so amazing. So I just think it's going to be a really fun year. We've got a full plate, but we're excited. Yes.
You and your vocational service chair really have a lot of work up your sleeves for those events that you've got planned. I appreciate the rebranding, and I love when people, shake things up, because any organization that has been around this long, stagnancy is death. And so I give you a lot of credit for that. I've gone to Rotary on the Roads with different clubs, and I love them. Just being in a different place, eat some different food, go to a business, see some stuff, meet some different people, and get an insight. You feel like an insider. You feel like you know more about your community, and it's really wonderful. And I think back on it now, and I can remember probably 3/4 of the Rotary on the Roads that I've been to, and far more clearly than a standard meeting at the same time period. It's amazing how different it sticks out in your mind. I can picture the people who were there. I can picture what we were doing, and whether there was service involved or not. So congratulations for bringing that about. I think the feedback that you're going to get, actually, this is one of the questions I was going to end with today, was when your year as president is over, what do you want people to remember about your term 5 to 10 years from now? And I'll answer part of that. What I think is people will actually remember some of the things that happened during your year, because it wasn't beige. It wasn't the standard. We'll come back to that question.
Okay.
I want to get back to your Parks project, a passion project of your group. Tell me about what's going on.
Yes, so this is our all-user playground project. I'm so excited about it. So Thiensville-Mequon and also our Mequon-Thiensville Sunrise Rotary Club are joining forces for this project. It's going to be in Rotary Park. I highly recommend you going out there. It's right on like Highland Road out in Mequon. We do have like a stake in the ground that you can see kind of our big game plan of what that's going to look like. Construction is supposed to start, I believe, this year. and it will bleed into 2027. But what's really unique and what I want to really focus on right now is we have a really fun activity or a really fun event coming up that we want to welcome and invite our community and all fellow Rotarians to. But it's August 15th. It's called Party in the Park. So it is going to be in Rotary Park. It's from noon to 5. There'll be a band and carnival games and lots of information on the park. So bring your questions. There's going to be just a lot of information, but also just a really fun time to come together and see the progress of where we're really taking this amazing passion project of ours.
I see. I did a quick search. Rotary Park has a 4.6 out of 5 stars with over 200 reviews. That's really great for any park as far as I'm concerned, and it's got the Rotary branding. So that is really outstanding. Did you say you're partnering with other Rotary clubs on this rebranding effort or on this particular project? Did I misunderstand that?
Yep. So there's 2 Rotary clubs in our area. So the Thiensville-Mequon one, which is the one I'm in, and then there's also the Mequon Thiensville Sunrise Club. So we're working together on this project, and I want to actually shout out our website because our website's phenomenal. If you're looking to get involved, either to donate, to volunteer, maybe it's your skill set and your expertise. Everyone's able to give differently. Maybe you have your wheelhouse is very different and very unique, and you're like, I think I could contribute with my skill set that I do with what I do in my professional life. Whatever it is, I do think this is a project that, everyone has the ability to give in different ways, and they're welcoming that. So the website's going to be mequonrotarypark.com. There you can kind of see this 3D incredible view of what the playground is going to look like. It's just going to be fabulous. It talks more about the project summary, donors, how to help, different events coming up. There's some cool videos. And what's really unique about this playground is it's for everyone. This playground is for the community and for kids and kids with special needs, adults with special needs, grandparents, young, old, whoever you are, this project is going to be for the community. And I think that is so special. I know our club has really poured our hearts into this project, and I'm just so excited to see it come to life.
I'm excited too, and as you can tell probably about my hands coming up while doing this, I am searching this website right as you're talking about it, and it is beautiful. It is a very well put together thing, and I also have to give you a lot of credit to you and everyone else in your club. You are really good with branding. You can see it throughout this particular website, good proper use of Rotary images, and your social media is also excellent. I think you are one of the clubs in our district that does it the best in terms of frequency and what you post about, engaging photos of people doing things. It's a full spectrum, right? But it's not just a picture of a speaker or a check being handed out. It is people of action in action, and it looks like fun. So well done on that. So thank you so much for telling me about this Parks project. I don't know if I'll be able to make it personally, but I imagine it's going to be very well attended. You've done a good job promoting it here and in plenty of other places. Good luck.
Yes.
Thank you for changing lives in our community. So one of the topics that we wanted to talk about today was young people in Rotary. And now that we're 22 minutes into this episode, and we've talked a bit about, you coming to this new area and wanting to make some friends, make some connections, and be a Rotarian, and how things have changed from COVID. Let's kind of pivot our talk into that major theme. And I'm going to ask a quintessential thing that you shouldn't ask someone, but I'll tell myself first. I want to know how old we are for the people who are listening, because the average Rotarian is well above their 50s. I'm 38. Angelica, how old are you?
I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you to guess. Give me a range. Do you think I'm in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s?
I think there's nothing wrong with being 30, so I'm going to say you're 30.
I'm 29. You're almost right on the money.
Fantastic. That's excellent. As I adjust my gain down, that's great. I've been in Rotary for 12 years. So I joined Rotary at 26, and
wow.
I still very distinctly remember being the youngest in everything forever, and both loving it and thinking it was weird and stressful at the same time. But I had so many mentors and friends, and at that time I was unchurched, and so Rotary provided a really unique and welcome thing for me. some of the reasons that people go to church are to find fellowship and to find a common frame of morals and a guiding purpose to what they do. And Rotary very much provided that with our regular weekly meetings, our service together, the four-way test, and all the things that we try to accomplish in our community. So that's one of the reasons why I joined again as a young Rotarian. But let's just talk about it. What's the age spread in your group? What other young Rotarians have you met in Mequon, Thiensville, or Milwaukee Metro, or places that you're going to these days? What are you talking about when you talk to your peers at these chamber events, networking events that you've been putting on?
Yeah, great question. So our club is very diverse in that sense. We actually, this is really unique, I think, to our club, is we have a kind of subcommittee to our membership committee, and it's solely focused on young professionals.
Okay.
And these are our younger members in Rotary that are joining forces to kind of hyper focus on that age group and to attract new members in like the young professional sense. What's also really unique to our area is, so with our chamber young professionals, it's a credible organization. This is also an organization I'm involved in. So we somewhat partner, I'd say. It's not an official partnership, but I want to create these social mixers this year and invite our chamber young professional friends. So they're already in the area. They either live or work in the area. They're somehow connected already to our area. So it's like, what?
Yeah.
That seems like such an easy connection. It's like, hello, we both love volunteering. We both are, in some form of profession, and we're looking to make a difference. And why not join forces? So I'm trying to find more opportunities to synergize. The first opportunity was last year. So our young professionals group puts on a speed mentoring event. And I was like, this is so great. They're looking for mentors. And I was like, oh, pick me. I know exactly who we need to call on, Rotary, because they have a variety of different backgrounds, a variety of different professions. We had a pilot there. We had someone in public service. I think one in banking. And it was just amazing. I was able to show them the diverse mentors that we have at our fingertips, and it's in your community that you live and work and hang out in. So
what was the turnout like for that event? Do you remember?
It was, I want to say we had maybe 8 to 10 mentors. Okay. And then it's kind of a round robin situation, right? Yeah. So you have a block of questions. They're welcome to ask other questions, but it's such an easy and affordable event. All you have to do, find the date, the time, the event space. We actually, the young professionals host, we'll have drinks and appetizers and that kind of stuff. So we do that on the side as well. But every so many minutes you shift around. So I would say you usually turn out, and this has been kind of our bread and butter event. We run 11 events, 11 to 14 events throughout the year, but anywhere from 25 to 40 people will come to this event. And our young professional group, out of those 11 to 14 events, over 200 different attendees. So I mean, that's amazing. Have
you been able to attract any new members to your club or to other Rotary clubs from these yet?
Definitely working on it. So a couple have came as my guests, and I think that is the first step, is getting them in the door, getting them comfortable, and getting to see firsthand what does our meetings look like. Because like I said, first of all, it's about membership retention, making sure that our members are having a good time. Two, I've mentioned we are fun. I love coming. They are great people to hang out with. So once I can get them to lunch, that's a really easy step forward. Now, as young professionals, there's a lot less flexibility with their schedules, right? They might not be able to always make Tuesday meetings at noon, but what I see it as is we're planting the seed early. Maybe it's not now, but maybe it's later down the road. So I'm getting them involved. They're enjoying their experiences. I want to kind of work with them to get them at these Rotary mixers that I'm hosting throughout my year as president. And then lastly, I want to think, maybe there's an opportunity for us to have a corporate membership. And this is something that I know was mentioned a lot at PETS when it comes to membership and how do we get more
different clubs will do corporate memberships.
I want a corporate membership. Yeah, so I think it's a really good idea, and so that's another kind of way that I'm trying to find a solution to, after having multiple young professionals from that committee join, most of their answer was, I don't have the flexibility, or for whatever reason, and corporate membership hits a lot of those things that can be a really great solution for them.
That's good. Yeah, and cost.
Yeah.
And it's about driving the value proposition too for Rotary for these young people, especially, if time is a limiting factor and cost is a limiting factor, what are they going to be getting out of it? Some people want the networking, some people want the contacts, some people want the mentorship and growth, or some people are just there because their boss said you need to be out in the community. And every one of them can be an equally valid entry point to Rotary. I think back when I first joined, I joined Rotary to find networking contacts and to get sponsorship for an ads that I was putting together. And it was a very short turnaround for me personally that I fully bought into it because I knew what Rotary was, when I was a teenager and, fell in love with it. But getting people in is the important part, and then keeping engaged and follow up. So oftentimes we just drop the ball on follow up, but then you get those multiple touches, like you were saying, planting that seed earlier. I know there's an adage where you have to tell people something 7 times before they start to think it's their own idea. It's kind of the same thing with Rotary. You need to have, 3 or 4 touches by multiple people to invite, unless you're a diehard and you're going to be a Rotarian, before they start to see, oh yeah, this is worth it. These are good people. This is something I want to do in my community. In my club, Oshkosh Southwest, our president last year, she was asked to be a Rotarian, I think, for decades before she finally joined. And she was such an excellent president, just fantastic and passionate. And that seed grew and blossomed into a really beautiful, impactful thing, all the work that she did as president this year. So way to go planting those seeds. I agree. I've tried to interact with our chamber too, and thinking of different ways to bring people in. We've got something called Leadership Oshkosh here. There's about 50 people or so that participate every year, and they're from all businesses all over the board in Oshkosh, working in Oshkosh, from the university to art centers to you name it. And as part of that, they each need to serve on a nonprofit board, and then they meet once a month for a themed day. One day is government day, one day is city work, etc. And I've tried to reach out to as many of them as I can just this past year, and I'm going to try it again, just handwritten notes, meeting them in person at these alumni events, because I'm an alumni from 10 years ago too, and inviting, because it seems like a prime group of people, right? You're part of a leadership group. Well, you can be a leadership person more than just 1 year by joining this excellent service opportunity. And we have had people who have been Leadership Oshkosh grads join, but I think the turnover rate could be a lot better. But it's like finding people to engage with that idea is hard, and I hope you don't burn out. I hope you're not doing it all on your own, but these are all great ideas, and we all need more third places. Are you familiar with that concept of third places?
No.
That's right. We used to have a lot of third places in our culture. Your first place was home, your second place was work, and then your third place would have been your church or your bowling team or your reading club, etc. And then as we've become so entwined in our digital devices, while we are recording here a podcast on a computer, but people with on their phone with TikTok and watching YouTube and anything like that, the social interaction, especially post-COVID, has really atrophied. And so there is no third place for people to just go and be themselves, right? Where they're not in charge necessarily, they just get to go and be and participate. And Rotary is such a good third space, and an opportunity to be a better person in spaces 1 and 2. Man, what kind of platforms are you finding success engaging people in their 20s and 30s and 40s when it comes to, I don't know, talking about Rotary, talking about, I don't know, what you love to do? For example, we're going to be putting this podcast out on our LinkedIn page, and we've got it on Facebook and our other social media platforms. This is a new experiment for us that I hope yields results. I think it will, in particular on LinkedIn, once we get our reels and things going. But what do you think? For example, I don't do TikTok. I don't know if there's value in that. Trying to get some conversion from Rotaract to Rotary, or just young professionals on there. What do you think?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm not on TikTok either, but our Rotary Club this year, we're doing 3 different social media platforms, and I think it's really smart and strategic. So we're on LinkedIn, and I think that's where you're going to find a lot of young professionals, a lot of professionals in general. Facebook, of course, that's still the #1 social media platform, and then also on Instagram. And that's something new for us. I think it's going to be really interesting. It's going to attract, I guess, probably more the younger generation. But it's really good because what I see it as, it's kind of that intentional follow-up. You know how you said you have to kind of see something 7 times until you know it's your own idea? Same thought. So, right. So, I see this kind of as a strategic process when it comes to potential members. For example, so we already have a good, solid list of upcoming speakers. I'm strategic in that sense where, let's say, Sally Joe. My friend Sally Joe is in my Young Professionals Committee, or she's in a different group with me, a different volunteer group. I think she'd be a great Rotary member someday, and I'd like to introduce her. I'd like to take her to lunch. Well, Sally Joe doesn't love football, so I'm probably not going to take her to when we hear from someone from the Packers organization talking about sharing his personal stories. Probably not the best fit. Not every week's going to be maybe your favorite speaker, but what's cool is I already have that list, so I see it as strategy. Oh, Sally Joe loves dancing, and we have someone coming from this ballet company. I'm going to pick her for that one, so she's coming in September. So that's the first strategy there, and then 2, the follow-up process. I say, hey, join our social media sites, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, so they have that constant reminder to see all the good work. And like you mentioned, it's not just holding checks and like taking group photos or whatnot or highlighting the speakers. It's so much more than that. So we're already doing something good, and we've set ourselves up to have a solid, consistent, and well thought out story to share on our social media. That's an easy sell when they're able to see that consistently. They're already scrolling on their phones all the time anyways. If they can consistently to see and hear our story as our Rotary Club tells it, it's such a win. And to then have them naturally come back. Maybe I follow up in a couple weeks, ask them, like, hey, what did you think of that? Are you interested? Do you have any questions? Do you want to grab coffee? And the more personal you can be with someone, the better. The other thing, too, is like, I'd rather have a couple muskies than 100 minnows. I'm looking for people that are excited,
want to make an impact,
want to join, that want to make an impact, that have their heart in the right place, and that would be a good fit for Rotary as well. So finding people that align on that front as well is really important. So something else that we have this year is I have customized Rotary business cards. I gave everyone them. And so every Rotarian in our club has those business cards. They're supposed to keep it in their wallet. And the idea is you never know when that conversation is going to come up, whether it's at church or at school or with your kids' volunteer project or Girl Scouts or whatever. Just say, hey, I'd like to invite you. Then you go home, you share the speaker list with them, and say, hey, are you interested in this? Do you want to come to this one? And then that starts the kind of the process. So that's kind of our mentality behind it.
Well, it's a very human mentality. Getting back to what we talked about, we have to have that face-to-face contact at these networking events, at going to soccer games, this and that. That people connect to people. People don't connect to devices, right? Absolutely. That's what makes that lasting impact and that decision to actually do something. Way to go. My gosh. You are so vibrant. You're such a wonderful person and Rotarian, Angelica. I just have to say, and for anybody listening, if you didn't know, Angelica was our chair for our public image committee. Yes. Wow. Doesn't it sound like she knows what she's talking about, having a strategy and executing on it and having those multiple touches? Just wonderful. Well, your club is certainly very lucky to have you, as is our district. My goodness. Hey, speaking of, I don't know, this is a bad segue, but what do you think, because you're out there doing these networking events more than most Rotarians are these days, what do young business leaders look like? Because I think the Rotarian of the future, of what we're trying to get today, because Rotary is growing in Africa and India, and it's dwindling in Canada and America and other places, because what we look like physically and in our businesses is different than the systems we have in place. I think in the 90s it worked really well to scoop up middle management and new people that were going into the office. And now in 2026, so many of us work from home or have non-traditional jobs or are, maybe there's these startup businesses who are multiple ones of them sharing a shared office space. The structure is different. What are you seeing from the people that you're interacting with that would maybe shock some of the older members, but be like, no, this is the Rotarian of the future.
I don't think there's a specific profile I can give the Rotarian of the future, but what I do say is, Rotary's for everyone. And I think the way that we look at membership and potential members is different than what we used to. Like, I feel like you kind of almost had to fit in a box before, right? Like, yeah, there's
Yes.
kind of a specific kind of guidelines. And these days, right now, we're just breaking down those barriers. The amount of conversations I've had this for someone to say, how are you in Rotary? Like, don't you have to be like X amount of years in leadership? Don't you have to, spend all this money? And like, there's so many just false ideas when it comes to what are the qualifications to be a Rotarian. Or someone told me they thought everyone had to be retired. I'm like, oh dear goodness, like you don't know our history. Like we started in Chicago, it was a group of business people, like
Well, they knew a very public picture of our history. That's the thing. I remember having those conversations and going through it for a long time. It's like, how are you? Why is this just the old dudes who get around and smoke cigars and have scotch at lunch? Like, I wish, because that kind of sounds like a lot of fun. But also, no, it's totally different. A Rotarian can be someone who writes a check, and that can make a lot of difference because we're the best on Charity Navigator and all the work that the Rotary Foundation does. But no, it can be someone in their 20s and 30s who has a non-traditional job and who just wants to make a difference in the community here. But those pictures have changed. I give Rotary a little bit of credit. I give them a lot of credit. Who am I kidding? I love Rotary to death. But what I'm thinking is something changed in the last decade when a lot of the clubs in the area stopped requiring attendance. And I thought it was a good thing. A lot of people dropped off, but churn is important in any organization. I think the people who come want to be there, and it lowered barriers for that traditional, you have to be in the office and you have to come. So that was a good thing. But you're right. The first thing that you said when I asked you what does a Rotarian look like, there is no profile for social class, color, gender, just people who want to make a difference and can give. So thank you for saying it. You said it best.
Yeah. And I think about what the next 15, 20 years would look like. You're right in the sense that COVID changed people forever, right? There's so many people that work from home that don't have that human connection. And I think that's why we need Rotary more than ever, is because if you don't have that human interaction, I'm like, I enjoy going to the office. I'm a social butterfly, if you can't tell, so I enjoy that social interaction.
You don't say.
So I think for those that don't get that in their day-to-day jobs, for those that are looking for a new passion, whether they're retired or in their season of life, maybe they're a stay-home mom. I think it's for everyone. So, or stay-home dad, or someone who's an entrepreneur and trying something new and looking for and leaning into people who have more experience, or someone who maybe has gone through that process before. I mean, there's just such a wealth of knowledge and skill sets in Rotary that I think it would make a lot of sense for those that are entrepreneurs. I feel like there's been a lot of new business owners and entrepreneur skills come out of COVID, and people starting their own passion projects that have now become their full-time gig. And Rotary is a great place to share their story, to network, to build their business, to grow, to connect with people, just so many reasons.
We're going to start wrapping it up now, so I'll just ask a few, end of interview questions. And I alluded to this one earlier. I'll repeat it. When your year as president's over, how do you want people to remember your term 5-10 years out? What one thing do you hope they remember?
I would say that I helped people have more fun and grow relationships.
Excellent.
Rotary is about the people. If we did not have people, our club would not exist. So to connect people, to grow in a sense that reminding everyone, we're part of something, I know I said this before, but being a part of something bigger than ourselves. And whether it's something as small as a couple hours for a service project or our all-user playground, everything is extremely impactful, and no good deed is too little or too large to be important. And just honing in on those relationships and the growth that we can have, that's where the fun happens. So I really do. I feel like that's a variety of things that I hope to be remembered for and to accomplish this year, but truly it really comes back to just the relationships, to build and connect those relationships.
Well, I couldn't think of a better way to end this episode than the things that you have just said. You are such a passionate person and an amazing Rotarian. I think that our district is in good hands and your club is in even better hands. And Rotary happens in the clubs with the people. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you for being a guest here today. Will you join me for our final thing where we just say the four-way test?
Thank
Of the
you for
things we
your-
think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it
Will it
build goodwill and better
and
friendships?
Will
And will it be beneficial to all concerned? I really do need to get a bell, so this is our ding. Ding!
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
need one. And thank you so much for everything you do for the district. This is wonderful, and I'm just so honored to be on your podcast. You're doing a great job, too.
Hey, thanks for trying something new. That's how we change. You take care. Thanks, Angelica.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.